I swear I can still smell the ozone.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's literally clinging to my clothes right now. The scent of, I don't know, shattered hardwood, burning static, and, well, the sharp, unmistakable odor of multiversal collapse.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because, look, we didn't just sit in a theater and watch a movie for today's deep dive. We just stepped out of a highly classified, fully immersive holodeck simulation.
Yeah, and my heart is genuinely still racing.
Same, because we didn't just observe this narrative. We were inside of it.
Right, the sensory overload alone takes time to process. I mean, recalibrating to the real world, to a room with solid walls and, a normal sky, it just feels jarring after experiencing an alternate universe film in real time.
Oh, totally jarring.
The technology allowed us to stand on the court, to literally feel the heat of the explosions, and to witness the sheer scale of the threat firsthand.
And we need to lay out exactly what this film is for you, the listener, because you have to throw out everything you think you know about this franchise.
Everything. Toss it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are talking about an alternate universe's release of Space Jam 2, Settle the Score. Now, in our timeline, we got Space Jam, A New Legacy.
Right, the corporate crossover one.
Yeah, that one. Let's set the baseline right now. This multiversal masterpiece we just simulated literally reaches across dimensions, grabs the Space Jam 2 from our timeline, and just snaps its neck.
It really does.
In terms of quality, stakes, and just unfiltered, terrifying absurdity. It's a bloodbath.
But the tonal departure is the first thing that strikes you. I mean, this is not a corporate crossover event designed to showcase a studio's IP.
No, not at all.
What we experienced is a grim, dark, apocalyptic, musical basketball catastrophe.
Which sounds like a Mad Lib, but it works so well.
It does. And the creators of this alternate universe film clearly drew massive, massive inspiration from the lore of Deltarune.
Right. We should probably explain that for anyone who isn't familiar.
Yeah, so for context, Deltarune is an RPG built entirely around the concept of encroaching darkness. The protagonists are constantly fighting against the feeling that their choices might not ultimately matter.
That deep existential dread.
Exactly. And this film takes that specific brand of dread and just injects it straight into a sports narrative. The stakes here aren't about saving a server or winning a localized tournament.
Right.
It is about the survival of reality itself against this eldritch, cosmic entity known only as the Titan.
So the mission of our deep dive today is to basically take you inside that holodeck with us.
Grab your gear, folks.
We're going to unpack exactly why this fever dream fusion of cosmic horror, classic cartoon slapstick, and dense multiversal lore creates what might honestly be the ultimate cinematic sports experience.
It really is unparalleled.
It's like going to a high-stakes gladiator match in ancient Rome. The crowd is screaming, the tension in the air is just suffocating, and it's a battle for absolute survival.
But with a twist.
Right, except the gladiators in the pit are cartoon animals, and the lions they're fighting are literal gods of darkness and void.
Which is such a wild visual.
It is hilarious on a visual level, sure, but
Yeah.
you are sweating because you are genuinely terrified for them.
Yeah, and that specific juxtaposition, the absurd confronting the terrifying, that's the engine of the entire narrative.
It's what keeps it moving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To understand how they pull this off without the whole thing just collapsing under its own weight, we have to examine the terrifying canvas the filmmakers painted on.
The setting.
Right. They establish a baseline of absolute dread from the very first frame.
You feel that dread immediately. I mean, the simulation starts, and we are hit with the aesthetic of total ruin.
It's oppressive.
It is pouring rain. And not like a cinematic drizzle, but a deluge pounding against the glass dome of the Acme Interdimensional Arena.
The sound design there is incredible.
Yeah, the drops feel heavy, like they are filled with ash or something.
And the acoustic design weaponizes that atmosphere. You don't hear triumphant sports anthems, which is what you'd expect.
Right, no jock jams.
No, you hear emergency sirens wailing across a chaotic, burning cityscape. People are literally fleeing in terror through the streets.
Just mass panic.
And every television, every digital billboard, every screen in sight is broadcasting the exact same horrifying text. The Titan has challenged the world.
Just the phrasing of that is chilling.
It really is.
It doesn't say the Titan has challenged the Toon Squad to a basketball game. It's the entire world.
It's an ultimatum.
Then the camera, or in our case, our perspective in the holodeck, pans out to the arena itself.
Okay.
The Titan court is literally suspended over an endless abyss.
Just floating there.
Floating. The sky above it is split straight down the middle. On one side, it's burning crimson with roaring, violent storms,
And the other side.
swallowed entirely by a pure black void. Giant chains hang from nowhere, spotlights flicker like dying stars. It is breathtakingly bleak.
And center court is where the true horror anchors itself. The Titan stands there, and its design is a masterclass in cosmic horror.
It's so unsettling.
It isn't just a big monster. It is described as an impossible giant made of jagged darkness and glowing hollow eyes.
And the holodeck really let us feel that. Every breath the Titan takes physically shakes the simulation.
The haptics went crazy.
The hardwood of the court actually ripples. And floating above this eldritch nightmare is a massive scoreboard that reads, "Final score decides the fate of the world."
In a normal sports movie, the crowd is just, background texture. They cheer, they boo, that's it.
Yeah, they're just set dressing.
But here, the crowd is a focal point of the tragedy. The stands are packed with terrified citizens pulled from countless universes.
It's a massive crossover.
Cartoons, monsters, superheroes, villains, they are all jammed into these seats, forced to watch the apocalypse play out as a sporting event.
Oh, and the referee?
Yes, the referee is an entity made of pure static blowing a flaming whistle.
Which is just such a cool detail.
The filmmakers are actively weaponizing our psychological expectations here. I mean, we are conditioned to view sports arenas as spaces of controlled conflict.
Right, they have rules.
Rules, boundaries, referees, and ultimate safety. When the buzzer sounds, everyone goes home.
Regardless of who wins.
Exactly. By taking this incredibly structured, safe environment and injecting it with infinite, uncontrollable stakes, they create a unique psychological dissonance.
It really messes with your head.
The crowd in the stands mirrors you, the viewer. You are watching heroes and villains sitting side by side, totally paralyzed by a threat so vast it renders their usual conflicts completely meaningless.
But, I kept wrestling with a logic problem while standing in those stands.
Okay, what was it?
Why do cosmic entities always love games?
Ah, right.
Like, if you have the power to destroy reality, if you are this jagged god of darkness whose mere breath shakes the universe, why leave it up to a scoreboard? Why give your victims a chance to shoot hoops at all?
It's a great point, and the film actually anticipates that exact question.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, and it answers it through the character of the Roaring Knight. The Knight acts as the herald, or like the executioner for the Titan, watching the court from a throne of cracked stone.
He's the one doing the color commentary, basically.
Yeah. Basically. And he provides the exposition that clarifies the Titan's motives. It's not that the Titan is bound by the rules of basketball or that it somehow needs to win a game to conquer the universe.
Okay, so what is it?
It's that the Titan genuinely enjoys games.
So it's pure sadism.
Pure sadism.
It's turning the destruction of reality into a ritual.
Precisely. The Roaring Knight explicitly states that the game merely decides who suffers long enough to witness the inevitable end.
Wow.
The Titan is essentially playing with its food. By forcing these multiversal beings to participate in a game with structured rules and a ticking clock, the Titan is mocking the very concept of hope.
It is so dark.
It is creating a framework where the victims theoretically could win entirely for the purpose of making them feel the absolute crushing weight of their inadequacy when they inevitably fail.
Man, that makes the scoreboard feel less like a mechanism for victory and more like a countdown clock on a bomb.
Exactly.
It creates this impossible, suffocating scenario for the heroes. And what the film does next is just brilliant.
The transition.
Yeah, it takes all of that cosmic dread dripping from the arena and it cross-cuts directly into the Toon Squad's locker room to see how that pressure is manifesting internally.
It is arguably one of the most brilliant deconstructions of cartoon characters in film history.
I agree with that.
The contrast between the eldritch horror outside and the deeply personal existential dread inside that locker room grounds the entire narrative.
If you were standing in that locker room with us, you'd see a complete disaster.
A total mess.
It looks exactly like you would expect a locker room to look if the players knew they were waiting on death row. Water bottles are scattered everywhere, sneakers are hanging from pipes, half-eaten carrots litter the floor.
And amidst all this mess, the classic characters are fundamentally breaking down.
They are losing it.
The psychological realism applied to fundamentally absurd characters is striking. You have Porky Pig hyperventilating into a brown paper bag.
Poor guy.
Daffy Duck is pacing back and forth, literally vibrating with panic. And Bugs Bunny, the eternal symbol of cool, calm collectedness, is sitting silently on a bench, just nervously spinning a basketball on one finger.
The tension in that room was thick. And then the lights suddenly flicker. The temperature in the room drops so fast you can actually see their breath.
It gets freezing.
The television screen in the corner turns to heavy static, and the Titan's face fills every single monitor in the room. A voice that sounds like grinding tectonic plates booms, "Bring your greatest," or "Watch everything die." And then the feed just cuts to silence.
And that silence leaves space for a fascinating moment of meta-awareness from Daffy Duck.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
Daffy, historically the character most prone to panic and self-preservation, screams, "This is ridiculous! The fate of existence should not rely on free throws."
It's hilarious, but it's also terrifyingly true. Like, he's making a very valid point.
He is. It highlights the absolute absurdity of the genre they are trapped inside. Daffy is breaking the fourth wall, but not for a cheap joke.
No, it's rooted in fear.
Right. He is doing it in genuine terror at the narrative structure of his reality. He recognizes the severe mismatch between an apocalyptic threat and a sports game solution.
That panic from Daffy is a stark contrast to Bugs Bunny. Porky stutters that they are all doomed, and Bugs just calmly catches the spinning basketball and says, "Nah, doom's usually around phase 3. We're still in phase 2 panic."
Such a classic Bugs line.
And when Daffy demands to know how this could possibly be worse, Bugs just deadpans, "Could be golf."
Could Be Golf is actually a profound look at how a character whose entire existence is defined by comedy processes deep trauma.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's the exact same psychology you see in a seasoned ER doctor.
Oh, interesting comparison.
Yeah, like when the walls are falling down, when a mass casualty event comes through the doors, they don't scream. They focus on the immediate, ridiculous details to avoid total paralysis.
They compartmentalize.
Right, they make a dark joke about the paperwork. Bugs Bunny is using humor, not because he thinks the apocalypse is funny, but as a cognitive shield. If he stops making jokes, he has to acknowledge the very real possibility of his own permanent deletion.
And let's extrapolate on the weight of that permanent deletion for a moment.
Okay.
These are characters designed for slapstick.
They usually bounce back from anything.
Right. They exist in a world where dropping an anvil on someone's head results in a funny accordion sound effect and a temporary lump. They are functionally immortal within their own context.
But not here.
But here, they are facing an entity that does not observe cartoon physics. The Titan represents true, irreversible finality. If they lose, the film establishes that the dark fountains will merge.
And we really need to unpack what those dark fountains actually are, because it's central to the Deltarune lore they borrowed for this universe.
Yeah, so a dark fountain in this lore is essentially a geyser of pure, concentrated dark energy that erupts and completely overwrites the physical reality around it.
It just blankets everything.
It plunges it into an alternate dimension of shadow. The Titan's court is the nexus point. If the Titan wins, these fountains erupt across every known universe, merging them into an eternal void.
So they aren't just facing a loss on a scoreboard. They are facing the erasure of the concept of play entirely.
Exactly.
They're facing the death of comedy itself.
And for a cartoon character whose entire ontological purpose is to be perceived, to entertain, and to bounce back from injury, absolute darkness is a fate worse than death.
It's their ultimate nightmare.
It is the undrawing of their reality. The existential dread isn't about dying. It's about ceasing to mean anything at all.
Wow, that is heavy. But, that sense of imminent doom inside the locker room isn't just in their heads, though.
No, not at all.
The film proves the stakes by violently pulling us away from the arena entirely. We transition from this internal psychological dread to a brutal, parallel survival narrative happening across the collapsing multiverse.
And this is where we follow Bugsy Kuro.
Right. The scope of the film expands dramatically here. While the Toon Squad is trapped in the localized terror of the locker room, we witness the macro-level devastation through Bugsy's perspective.
Yeah, Bugsy isn't just chilling on a bench waiting to be subbed in. We find him on a solo mission, sprinting across a fractured multiverse highway.
And the HoloDeck simulation of this environment was staggering. I mean, reality is convulsing around him.
It's so chaotic.
1 second, he is running across the glass rooftops of neon cyberpunk skyscrapers. The next second, those buildings dissolve into floating ancient stone ruins, and then suddenly the ground turns into a burning apocalyptic desert. The structural integrity of time and space is just gone.
That rapid shifting of environments physically manifests the collapse of the multiverse. It's a highly dynamic way to show, rather than just tell, that the walls between dimensions are disintegrating.
You really feel the panic.
And Bugsy is navigating this temporal chaos while actively engaging in hand-to-hand combat with shadow monsters that are pouring out of dimensional cracks.
He is punching these creatures so hard, they explode into red static.
He's giving it everything he has.
He's fighting his way through this hellscape because he managed to steal a strange, glowing map device from one of the Roaring Knight's generals. This map is what finally lays bare the actual mechanics of the apocalypse.
Yeah, the map reveals that every universe is marked in red, and the pathways, the trajectories of these dark fountains are all converging on one single location.
The Titan Court.
Right. This confirms Bugsy's horrifying realization. The basketball game is not merely a sadistic pastime for the Titan.
It's a massive multiversal ritual.
Yes, the game is the focal point of the collapse. The kinetic energy of the game, combined with the concentrated despair of the losers and the audience, is the exact catalyst required to merge all the dark fountains simultaneously.
It's fueling the destruction.
If the Titan wins the game, the ritual completes, and existence is overwritten by the void.
Wait, hold on. I struggled with this in the simulation, and I gotta ask you about it.
Sure, what's up?
We have Bugsy Kuro carrying the weight of infinite timelines on his shoulders. His coat is torn. He's bleeding from his eyebrow. He tries to reach for his communicator to call for backup, and there's just static, what the script calls reality interference.
Right, he's totally isolated.
He realizes he is completely alone and that his friends are going to die without him. Meanwhile, Bugs Bunny is cracking golf jokes in the locker room. Doesn't that extreme tonal whiplash break the movie?
It's a valid concern.
Like, how does the audience reconcile a guy bleeding out in a burning desert in the middle of a Space Jam film?
It is an undeniable tonal risk. I mean, there's no arguing that. But that grit is precisely what anchors the film and makes the subsequent slapstick effective.
Oh, really? How so?
If everything in the narrative operated purely on cartoon logic, the threat would never feel genuine. The Titan would just be a cosmic Yosemite Sam, loud, visually imposing, but ultimately harmless.
Because the cartoon characters will always bounce back.
Exactly. By showing Bubsy physically bleeding, by emphasizing his exhaustion, his isolation, and the failure of his technology due to reality interference, the film establishes that there are physical, permanent consequences in this universe. The darkness validates the light.
Huh. The darkness validates the light. I like that. It sets the stakes in reality.
It really does.
Because when Bugsy finally reaches a massive, violently unstable dimensional gate, he looks at it. He knows that jumping into an unstable portal might tear his atoms apart or leave him lost between universes forever.
It's huge, Campbell.
But he wipes the blood off his face, simply says, worth it, and takes a leap of pure faith into the chaos. That leap means infinitely more because we felt the heat of the burning desert and the exhaustion of the fight.
It earns that dramatic moment.
It elevates the narrative from a wacky sports comedy into an epic saga of perseverance.
It grounds the chaos. But as the film brilliantly demonstrates, grit alone is fundamentally insufficient. Bugsy's shonen-style determination cannot beat a six-armed god of darkness in a basketball game, especially not in the first half.
No way. Because while Bugsy is falling through the void between dimensions, the Toon Squad is getting statistically and physically annihilated on the court.
It's a bloodbath out there.
The game starts, and within minutes, the score is 18-0. Every time the Titan dribbles the ball, the shockwave literally cracks the fabric of reality. The Toon Squad is desperate. Survival isn't working.
They need a new strategy.
To beat a god that is powered by rigid cosmic rules, you need someone whose entire existence is based on breaking the rules. Enter theatrical criminality.
The introduction of Robbie Rotten into this narrative is a stroke of structural genius.
I still cannot believe we were talking about Robbie Rotten saving the multiverse, but here we are.
I know, it's incredible.
The world is ending, dimensions are collapsing into static, and the film cuts to an abandoned, dusty sports museum somewhere in the multiverse.
Just completely empty.
Sitting there, entirely alone in the dark, is Robbie Rotten. He is eating a massive bucket of popcorn and watching the apocalypse coverage on 12 different stacked televisions like he's binging a Sunday matinee.
His introduction serves as a masterful subversion of the apocalyptic dread we've just spent so much time establishing.
It's such a relief to see.
The news reporter on the television is breathlessly describing the Titan's unstoppable power and the imminent end of all things. Robbie watches this, casually tosses a piece of popcorn into his mouth, scoffs, and says, "Oh, please, I've seen scarier things at children's birthday parties."
He is completely unimpressed by cosmic horror.
Totally unbothered.
He flips the channel, sees the live broadcast of the basketball game, sees the explosions and the chaos on the court. He watches Bugs Bunny get literally flattened into the hardwood by the Titan, and his only reaction is to pause, tilt his head, and say, "Okay, that one was pretty funny."
Which is such a great villain response.
But then a news ticker scrolls across the bottom of the screen. Toon Squad, 5th player, still missing. And you can see the narcissistic gears turning in his head.
And this is where we must unpack the narrative utility of using a vain, childish villain as the situational savior.
Because usually it's a hero.
Traditional heroic narratives dictate that a character must rise to the occasion through self-sacrifice and a sudden realization of the greater good. Robbie Rotten circumvents that trope entirely. He doesn't care about the structural integrity of the multiverse.
No, his motivation is purely ego-driven.
100%.
He realizes that a team missing one player on a universally broadcast stage sounds, quote, exactly like the kind of dramatic entrance I deserve.
He just wants the spotlight.
His stated reasoning for stepping into a battle against an eldritch god is literally, if the world ends, who's going to appreciate my choreography?
It is the ultimate narcissistic save. And his entrance at halftime fundamentally alters the mechanics of the game.
Oh man, the holodeck simulation of this entrance was glorious. The Toon Squad is decimated, the crowd is silent with terror, and suddenly, over the stadium PA system, you hear a faint singing echoing through the arena halls. The song, "I Am Robbie," villain number 1. Daffy Duck's reaction of pure, exhausted dread, "Oh no," is perfect. And then the double doors burst open. Robbie moonwalks onto the court, wearing a sparkling, sequined athletic tracksuit, dragging a giant duffel bag of gadgets behind him.
The contents of that duffel bag represent a huge shift in the rules of engagement. He brings rocket sneakers, trick basketballs, smoke bombs, industrial-strength magnets, and a comically oversized cannon.
He brings asymmetrical warfare to a cosmic entity.
He really does.
You don't try to outcalculate a supercomputer. You don't try to beat it at chess. You just throw a literal metal wrench into its cooling fan. Robbie Rotten is the wrench.
That's a great analogy.
The Titan is a machine of cosmic inevitability, operating on a level of power that Toons cannot match physically or athletically. You cannot outplay the Titan. You have to break the logic of the game with unapologetic cheating.
And when Bugs Bunny looks at Robbie's arsenal and asks if he's planning to help them win or commit several felonies, Robbie replies, "Why not both?" That exchange is the real turning point of the film.
Yeah, the script notes that for the first time all night, Bugs Bunny actually smiles. Because Bugs is fundamentally an agent of chaos.
Right.
Up until this point, the Titan has forced him to play a straightforward game of survival against an opponent who controls gravity. Robbie Rotten brings the chaos back.
The deployment of the banana peel is the perfect encapsulation of this strategy. Robbie fires his oversized cannon. Instead of explosives, it shoots out giant banana peels onto the court.
Which sounds ridiculous.
But look at the mechanics of it. The Titan, this god of darkness whose footsteps shatter the ceiling steps on a banana peel. How does a banana peel work on a god?
It shouldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Titan operates on absolute physical laws of dominance. A banana peel operates on the cartoon law of comedic timing. The cartoon law overriding the physical law creates a metaphysical paradox, causing the Titan to genuinely slip and fall. The impact of that fall shakes entire dimensions.
And Bugsy Kuro, having finally arrived at the arena just in time to see this happen, perfectly sums it up. He stares at the fallen cosmic god and says, "That's stupid. I love it."
It's the triumph of the absurd over the inevitable.
It really proves that rigidity, even cosmic rigidity, is profoundly vulnerable to sheer nonsense.
Critically, however, Robbie's gadgets and banana peels do not actually win the game.
No, they don't.
They cannot close the point gap. They merely buy the Toon Squad the most precious resource in any apocalyptic scenario: time.
They are surviving, but they still have to actually score points. They have to overcome a massive deficit before the clock runs out. This sets the stage for the true climax of the film, where the title "Settle the Score" truly manifests.
The multiversal musical climax is the magnum opus of the movie.
Oh, without a doubt.
It blends extreme sports mechanics with a fully orchestrated, high-stakes musical number.
If you were in the holodeck with us, the audio alone would have blown you away. Imagine the heaviest, most driving percussion you can think of.
It shakes your ribs.
Electric guitars screaming, brass sections blaring, and a sweeping, desperate choir vocal underneath it all. And it's entirely synchronized with the gameplay. Massive dancers emerge from the crowd, wearing glowing jerseys representing countless different universes. Basketballs bounce rhythmically on the hardwood, echoing like war drums.
The integration of the song lyrics with the on-court action is structurally fascinating.
It's so well done.
The music is diegetic, meaning the characters themselves hear it and they are actively singing it. It's not just a soundtrack overlaid for the audience's benefit.
Right, it's happening in universe.
The characters are expressing their existential dread and their defiant resolve through the lyrics while executing complex basketball plays.
It's like Hamilton meets the NBA Finals at the end of the world. You have Bugs and Daffy weaving across the court, singing, "Stick and slash the air, shoot your hope somewhere. Every second ticking down means the end is near."
And the juxtaposition there is brilliant.
Because right as they sing about hope, the Titan charges down the lane and dunks the ball with so much force that it literally cracks the moon hovering in the sky above the arena.
The visual of that shattered moon is iconic.
The scoreboard updates: Titan 32, Tunes 3. The whiplash between the energetic Broadway-style music and the horrific reality of the slaughter on the court is deeply jarring.
And the physical toll only worsens. Despite the musical momentum, the Toons remain physically outmatched. Daffy leaps for a desperate three-pointer, and the Titan simply swats him out of the air, launching him straight through a digital billboard.
Brutal.
The score plummets to 48-7. The arena trembles violently. Portals shatter in the sky like glass. Entire realities in the background are flickering in and out of existence.
Daffy limps back onto the court, battered, feathers singed. He points a shaking finger at the collapsing heavens and sings, "Not just a game, it's bigger than glory. Every world's attached to this story."
It's that meta-awareness again.
Exactly, wrapping the massive stakes of multiversal collapse into a musical rhyme.
The sequence creates a tremendous sense of narrative compression. The clock is rapidly ticking down, the score is impossibly lopsided, and the physical environment is dissolving around them.
They are completely backed into a corner.
The filmmakers paint the protagonists into an inescapable corner. The referee of Static even calls a technical foul for reality interference, pointing out that if the Toon Squad cannot field a fifth player, as Robbie is currently buried under rubble, they forfeit the game, and the universe ends immediately.
They are literally flattened into the floor. The music swells to this desperate crescendo, and then the arrival happens.
The turning point.
The sky tears open with a jagged bolt of red lightning. A massive explosion erupts in the rafters above the arena. A silhouette drops from the heavens. Boots hit the court with a crack that splinters the hardwood all the way to the three-point line. The long coat whipping in the storm wind, the neon red eyes glowing through the smoke. Bugsy has made it.
And the musical score reflects this shift instantly. The tension breaks. The music transforms from a desperate, struggling Broadway melody into full, orchestral heavy metal.
Daffy screams, "You're late!" from the floor. Bugsy doesn't even look at him. He just casually spins a basketball on his finger, a ball that is actively swirling with dark energy and golden light, and says he had to punch a hole through 3 collapsing timelines just to get here.
So casually.
Then he looks up at the Titan, points at it, and says, "So that big ugly thing wants the world. Then let's run the score up on Destiny." And for the very first time in the entire film, the Titan actually looks nervous.
That is a crucial character beat for the antagonist. Up until this exact moment, the Titan has been a force of nature, impassive, cruel, and completely in control. Bugsy's arrival introduces an element of chaotic power that the Titan cannot predict or calculate.
It doesn't know what to do with him.
Bugsy isn't bound by the traditional rules of the cartoon universe, nor is he paralyzed by the despair of the multiverse citizens. He brings raw, unfiltered defiance.
It injects pure adrenaline into the scene. Bugsy dashes forward, uses falling debris from the ceiling as stepping stones, bounces the ball off a hanging chain, rebounds it off a Titan's face, and slams it into the hoop.
The physics are totally out the window at this point.
The backboard explodes with golden light, the score jumps, and the terrified crowd finally finds its voice and loses its mind. As the clock hits the final minute, the dynamic shifts so wildly that the roaring knight realizes the Titan might actually lose.
Yes. The knight descends from his throne and decides to intervene directly on the court.
He breaks his own rules.
He draws his sword, and darkness literally bleeds from his footsteps, staining the hardwood. He levels the blade at Bugsy and tells him, "You cannot stop the inevitable."
And Bugsy's response is the defining line of the movie. He says, "Buddy, inevitable's just another word for hasn't been punched hard enough yet."
Such a great line.
The knight swings his dark fire blade in a massive arc, aiming to cleave Bugsy in two. And Bugsy catches the blazing sword with one bare hand. The impact creates a shock wave that blows the rain backward. That right there is the exact moment this movie stops being a sports film and seamlessly morphs into a pure shonen anime.
It absolutely crosses genre boundaries. Catching an impossibly powerful blade barehanded is a classic trope of the shonen anime genre.
Oh, totally.
It visually signifies a massive power differential or a sudden explosive awakening of inner strength. By utilizing that specific visual language in the middle of a basketball game, the film elevates the climax from an athletic contest to a mythic clash of willpower.
It changes everything.
It tells the audience that the rules of engagement are no longer governed by sports or cartoon physics, but by pure narrative momentum and the power of belief.
It sets up the final play flawlessly. The final chorus of the song kicks in. Every citizen from every universe in the audience stands up and begins chanting in unison. Lights ignite across the darkness of the stands. The buzzer-beating sequence is a masterclass in pacing and kinetic energy.
It's perfectly executed.
Bugsy drives the lane, draws the defense, and passes to Bugs Bunny. Bugs alley-oops the ball across the court to Daffy. Daffy, true to his character, almost fumbles the catch, spins wildly, screams, "I meant to do that," and launches the ball toward the hoop.
The choreography of that final sequence is essential. It relies on the entire team interacting, validating Bugs Bunny's earlier assertion about teamwork being their only viable strategy.
It pays off the earlier setup.
But the execution of the final shot itself is where the film's disparate genres perfectly synthesize. The Titan leaps to block Daffy's shot, a massive wall of jagged darkness eclipsing the hoop. It seems mathematically impossible to bypass.
But then Bugsy rockets upward from the floor, completely wrapped in a blazing aura of energy. Time dilates. The heavy metal orchestra completely cuts out to dead silence, which is such a powerful audio choice after 10 minutes of sensory assault.
The silence is deafening.
Bugsy catches Daffy's lob in midair. He yells, "This one's for everybody!" And he spikes the ball downward toward the hoop with devastating, world-breaking force.
Let's examine the physics of that final shot. The basketball transcends being a physical rubber object. It becomes a concentrated beam of pure light.
Right, it's not even a ball anymore.
Why does it become light? It is the synthesis of raw belief from the crowd, the chaotic elasticity of cartoon physics, and the sheer willpower of shonen logic, all concentrated into a single kinetic object.
And the Titan can't handle it.
The Titan operates on cold, unyielding logic. It cannot parse or compute this concentration of pure chaotic hope. The ball tears through the darkness, shreds right through the Titan's physical form, and shatters the roaring night storm. It's a direct hit. The buzzer sounds.
The holodeck went completely silent, and then the digital scoreboard clicked over, Toons 99, Titan 98.
By one point.
The entire arena explodes into a blinding white light. The Titan, this god of reality-shaking dread, literally disintegrates into ash and blows away in the wind. The crimson storms dissipate, the darkness retreats, reality violently stabilizes itself, and the crowd erupts into deafening cheers. It is the ultimate catharsis.
It is a profoundly hard-fought victory. It feels entirely earned precisely because of the immense suffering, the reality interference, and the insurmountable odds that preceded it. The emotional payoff is directly proportional to the psychological terror of the first act.
Which brings us to the aftermath and the final thoughts of our deep dive today. After the buzzer sounds and reality settles, the post-game relief washes over the court. Daffy Duck is sitting on the floor in absolute shock, just whispering, "We won," to no one in particular.
A very grounded reaction.
Bugs Bunny, leaning against the hoop, credits the power of teamwork. Bugsy Kuro, dusting off his torn coat, credits the power of cartoon violence.
And Robbie Rotten naturally steps in front of the camera and claims all the credit for himself, stating the victory was mostly due to his choreography.
Of course he does.
It's a wonderful return to their core character traits. It serves as a narrative signal that reality has indeed stabilized, the existential threat has passed, and they are allowed to be themselves again.
It's a great laugh that breaks the lingering tension. But the film doesn't let us off the hook entirely.
No, it doesn't. And this leads to the lingering philosophical weight of the film. Amidst the celebration, the camera pans away from the cheering heroes to the edge of the court. The roaring knight is standing there, slowly fading into the shadows of the restored reality.
He's still there.
He isn't dead, he's retreating, and before he disappears entirely, he issues a chilling warning. This is not over, the roaring still comes.
Bugsy just watches the horizon, his red eyes glowing, and says, "Then next time, we settle the score again." It genuinely gave me chills. But what did that actually mean for us? Why end this triumphant, hard-earned victory on a promise of future doom?
Because it reflects a deeper truth about the nature of existential threats. The film leaves you with a profound thought to mull over. If inevitable darkness is just something that hasn't been punched hard enough yet, how do you prepare for a game where the opponent has infinite time to demand a rematch?
How do you live with the knowledge that the darkness is patient?
Exactly. Think about how that applies outside the holodeck. The biggest existential threats we face, whether they are broad societal issues, environmental crises, or deeply personal struggles with mental health, are rarely defeated once and for all with a single buzzer-beating shot.
We don't just win and roll the credits.
We don't get to disintegrate our problems into ash forever. We just settle the score for today. We win the immediate battle, we buy ourselves time, we find joy in the reprieve, and we prepare to play again tomorrow.
We settle the score for today and prepare to play again tomorrow.
That is an incredibly profound takeaway from a movie where a guy in a sparkly tracksuit slips a cosmic god on a giant banana peel. It really is. It brings us right back to why we fired up the holodeck in the first place. We stepped into that gladiator pit expecting a goofy, alternate universe sports parody. Instead, we got a masterclass in cosmic dread, an exploration of humor as a psychological coping mechanism, and a testament to the defiant nature of hope. It absolutely snaps the neck of any preconceived notions we had about what this franchise or a sports movie in general could be. It forces you to look at the intersection of total absurdity and genuine terror and somehow find deeply human resilience hidden in the middle of it all.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I encourage you to step out of the holodeck of your own mind. Take a deep breath of the real world, but carry that multiversal energy into your day. Remember that when the sky splits open and the game seems completely rigged, sometimes you just need a little teamwork, a little grit, and maybe a well-timed banana peel. Until next time, keep exploring.